Eagle artists, and welcome back to art. I hope you're all well and ready to start your new weaving projects. Last time we learned that weaving is an important cultural art around the world and even here in Mexico. We learned about different styles and you designed an awesome plan for your weavings. Now, you will need your weaving design plan and the materials that I told you about. Remember, your weaving design will look best if you keep in mind good color choices, like I explained using the color wheel, and a cool design choice. For example, patterns, shapes, or using symmetry. Today, I will be showing you how to set up and start your weaving. I can't wait to see what you will create. Let's start. The first thing that you will need is something to hold your weaving while you work on it. The thing that holds the weaving is called the loom. Do you remember the loom that you saw in the video about kente cloth last week? That loom was so interesting. Here are some other pictures of looms that artists can use to build their weavings on. For our looms, we will be making them out of recycled boxes. You need to have already cut up a box and bring a rectangle shape like this. Next, we will be wrapping string around the cardboard loom like this. You will need string or yarn, scissors, and it also helps to have a bit of Scotch tape. So, gather your materials to your workspace. You can pause this video until you have them ready. Now we are going to make the loom. First, you need to draw about 15 to 20 lines across the top and the bottom of your cardboard. It is important that you put the same number at the top and the bottom. Here in my example, I could fit 17 marks on the top, so I also put 17 on the bottom. How many you can put depends on your cardboard piece. But don't put them too close together or too far apart. Let's count and make sure I have the same number on the bottom as the top. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 on the top. And again, the same on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. All right, and the space between can be about a finger width or a bit less. Your next step is to take the scissors and gently cut on the lines that you have put. You don't need to cut very far, and make sure to do this step carefully. You will need to cut along the lines on the bottom as well. Now, the last step for the loom is to wrap string around it. Choose a color that will look nice with your weaving plan, but you should know that this color will not show in the weaving. it will show as the tassels on the ends. Weaving will be easier if you choose a color that is different and contrasts with your weaving colors. I'm going to be using yellow because I already decided that I want a lot of greens and blues in my weaving. This next step is really important. So I'm going to be showing you how to string your loom. You're going to want a piece of tape and start by connecting your string on the first cut on the back of your cardboard. Put a piece of tape to hold it there, and then I'm putting an extra piece of tape just in case, and then I'm going to start wrapping around the cardboard. Now you can't see it here, but I have not cut the other side of the string. It's still connected to the ball. So I don't know quite how much string it's going to take. It will take quite a lot of string to wrap the whole cardboard. Once it's secure in the first cut, you're going to start wrapping it around and secure a little bit of string in each cut. When you're wrapping, you want to pull it tight enough that it's a straight line. But you don't need to stretch it super tight. Try not to miss any cuts that you made. And notice that I can still put my fingers underneath. So it's tight enough, but it's not super tight. There, see, I still can fit my hand underneath. Now when you get to the last cut and you go turn it over, you should find that your string is on the same side as you started. Okay, and that's going to make it a lot easier later on. So you can see where you taped the first end of the string when you started, and now you have here the last end where you're going to stop. So then take again your scissors and cut the string. So now it's going to be, it was on the ball and now it's going to be disconnected. Okay, so now you have your loom, but the last thing is to tape that end. So I'm going to hold it tight and put a piece of tape. Again, maybe two just in case, so it doesn't move while you're working with it. And now this part with the taped strings is the back, and this here is the front. All right, now that you made your loom, you are ready to start weaving. Weaving is like making a moving pattern through the loom. See how on this example, the string that goes across horizontally is going over and under the strings of the loom. If it helps you, you can think or say aloud, over, under, while you work, or up, down, like that, to help yourself remember to make this pattern. Okay, so here I'm ready to do my weaving demo. I have my weaving plan, so I can see that I'm wanting to start with light blue on the top there. And I have my loom ready, scissors, and string. I'm going to go ahead and actually cut a piece of my light blue. Oh, there we go, a piece of my light blue string. Now, I recommend you to actually measure about how much you want and cut that to work with. It's easier if you cut about enough for 5 to 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About that much, or you can do some more. But the more that you have, you know, it's gonna be a little bit harder to work with. So let's see, that's probably enough for right now. I can always add more later. So I'm gonna actually cut this time. Remember last time with the loom I didn't cut it, but now I'm weaving, so I'm gonna cut. And now I'm gonna connect this string to the loom so I can start weaving. Take a piece of tape. We're just gonna do this for the first piece and the last piece of the weaving. And tape your string to the back. Okay, so later on, eventually you'll tie this into your weaving. And now you're ready to weave. So remember, as I said, it's a moving pattern. And it's gonna start on the edge where you taped your string. You taped it on the back where you have the other end showing. And now you're weaving on the front. Okay? So I don't mind if you start with over or under, it doesn't matter. Just so that you do the pattern that I mentioned before. So let's say I want to start with over. Next, it would be under. I'm just going to keep on doing that. Over, under, leaving one and lifting up one every time. So that this new blue string is going to stay where I want it to be on the weaving. Okay? So you can see there. Under, over, under, over, under, and over. Okay, once you finish a row, pull all the rest of the string through. Very important. And wait until it looks flat on the end there. Okay, so that's one row. Now, we're gonna go back and continue the weaving to create a section of blue. When you go back, you're gonna want to do the same pattern of under, over, like that. But now you're going to start opposite. So what was my last piece? It was over the loom string. So now I have to pick it up and go under. Okay? By doing that, when I pull it through, the string will be held by that loom string. Now I don't want to pull it so tight that it bends the string, just so that it stops there on the end. Okay, so then let's continue with the end of the blue one and continue the pattern. So under, next over, next under, next over, and continuing like that. Okay. The more that you do this, the more you'll get used to it, and it'll get faster. At first, you might do a little bit slower and more carefully. Okay, switch that up. What do you notice about the way that the first row looks compared to the second row? This is one way that you can tell if you're doing it right, because you'll see that the next row is opposite the row on top. So pick any string of the loom and look at it. For example, this one here. If here, the first blue one was over, the next blue one should be under. And then, as you may predict, the next blue one for this string will be over. But next to it, it's opposite. All right, let's do one more row. Do you remember what to do at the end? We're gonna have to switch. We had the last one under. So now we're gonna start with it over. If it was like this and they were both under, that would be a mistake. Why? Because if I pulled it through, what's going to happen? It's not going to stay, all right? So if you find that happens and your string doesn't stay, well, it's because when you got to the end, you need to switch the pattern. And here it was under, so my next row of string for the blue has to start over, okay? So that might be a little bit tricky at first, but you'll get used to it. So let's continue. And anytime I'm not sure, anytime I have a doubt about where I should put the blue string, I can always look at the blue string ahead, the first one above it, and I can check, okay, that one was under, so this one goes over. That one was over, so this one should not be over. It should be under, like that, okay? So I'm just gonna finish up this row, and you can see how it works. Pull it through. Remember that you don't want to pull it too tight. Okay, I like to scoot them up together so I can see how big the weaving actually is. But if you want to wait and do that later, it's okay too. Okay, so now I finished my blue section, my blue stripe here. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to connect a new one. My next section on my plan was kind of like a light green. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this light green ribbon that I have. So switch it up. And remember that when you connect a new piece, you're gonna want to cut it first. Measure how long you want it to be. I don't want as much ribbon because it's so thick that it's going to take up a lot of space here. So maybe just 3 rows. Cut more than you think, you know, because you need to tie it. And maybe about right there. I'm cutting it now. Okay, and then I'm gonna weave this ribbon into there. So I'm gonna teach you now the best kind of knot to use to connect. You could double knot your strings together, but the best kind of knot to use is a kind of knot where you tie them both at the same time. Alright, some of you may already know how to do this type of knot. Others of you it may be new, so watch closely my fingers. I'm going to take the 2 pieces that I want to connect, and I'm gonna go in a circle, okay? Then, after I have a circle with both of them, I'm gonna take the loose end, go around, and put it through the circle. So, let me do it again so you guys can see really well. Okay, so I go around, hold the circle open, grab the 2 ends. I kind of put my fingers in the circle and then grab the 2 ends and pull it through. So now it looks like a little pretzel, okay? And then I'm pulling both ends through and pushing it down to make it tight and close the knot. Okay, so there's my knot. Okay, this is the best kind of knot to use. And then I can go ahead and keep on weaving. The last one was under, so over. It was over, so now I'm going under. And this one was under, so it's over. Over, so under. And continuing like that. Now, what I want to show you next is a helpful strategy, optional, that you could do in order to make it a little bit easier to weave faster through your loom. Okay, so you'll need a pencil, and you'll need to have already connected a new string. I have a new reddish color. And then find the end that's not connected to the last one and connect it to the pencil. So here I'm going to put it on the pencil and then use some Scotch tape to actually tape it and wrap the tape around. And then there we go. So now, well, if we were in the art room, we could do this too, or we would have, we would have like little needles, but this will work. Okay, so now I'm going to weave using this pencil, and this may make it a little bit easier because it's easier to hold the pencil than to hold a little piece of string, right? Especially if your string is like this one here that I have, which is thinner. Okay, so now with this pencil, I'm gonna do the pattern, and the string is just gonna follow along behind. So my green ribbon was under the yellow, and I'm gonna be over, and then under, over, under, over, under, over. And you notice that I can do like half of the loom at one time, or even I can just keep going, looking at the one above just to make sure that I'm doing the pattern right. And I can go through the whole loom and then just pull the string after, like that. So that's a little shortcut for you. Keep pulling. I put a lot of this color because it's very thin. All right, remember, don't pull it too tight. And then let's see again with the pencil strategy here. What was the last one? It was over the yellow, so now under. And then continue the pattern. Under, over, under, over. Okay. Now, what would happen if I accidentally made a mistake and I did 2 under and then an over, and then I kept going? What would be the result? When I pull it through, it doesn't look that bad right now, but you can see the mistake is there, where there are 2 the same. So try to catch your mistakes right away if you do something like that, and then go back to the part where you had the mistake. And when you go back, you have to follow the exact same way that you went across. Okay, so I can fix my own mistakes this way. So there, I went back to the mistake, and there it was under. So I'm going to take away one of the unders. Okay, and then I'm going to go back across again with under over. Over, under. Okay. And now when I pull it through, the mistake will not be there. Now, why is this so important? It's because later on, when we cut off, when we remove your weaving from the loom, we want it to stay and hold together and be strong and not have any holes in it, okay? So that's why we need to make sure that we continue the pattern correctly. And in case you skip and you do over or under, later on your weaving will not be as strong. So that's why you need to pay attention and continue the pattern. Okay. All right, well, I think that's about it for this demo. You get the idea how to do it. And so you can go ahead and start your weaving today. You can do maybe about half. If you would like to have different shapes, for example, to go halfway with one color, halfway with the other color, or to do like the kente cloth that we saw, some triangles and different shapes like that. That's a little bit more advanced. It looks really cool too. But I'm going to save that demo, how to do the shapes, for next week. Okay, so for this week, just go ahead and get started. Do at least, a third or half of your weaving. And then if you would like to have some shapes, save some space for putting those shapes starting next week. Okay? And one more thing, when you are storing your weaving, you can just wrap the extra string. If you need to take a break or something, you can wrap the extra string around and you can save your needle, your pencil needle in there like that. Okay? And then here is a finished example. So next week I'll show you how to do the shapes, like 2 colors, and I'll show you as well, coming up here, how to make pom-poms and how to finish it and hide the ends in the back.